Yeah, there we go. Come on now, little microphone. You can do it. This is Jimmy Moore. You are listening to solar-powered KRUU-FM, people-powered radio, now in its second decade of broadcasting. And we got the theme music on for City Business. That means it's time to catch up on what's going down at City Hall, the latest ups. And we have Jason Strong in the house with FMC. Always good to see his smiling face. And Michael Halley joining us to give us an update. Unofficial, but much appreciated. What's going on? Michael, how you doing today on this soggy day as we speak?
Good. I'm glad to be here.
Good to see you.
All right. Well, it was a very short meeting, so it'll be a short recap.
Excellent.
So informal review of our October 9th, 2017 regular city council meeting. One item in our consent agenda I'll pull out, and it actually then was something that a person we honored and recognized. So the item was to approve a not to exceed $1,200 for a retirement appreciation celebration. And this is for outgoing city clerk Joy Messer, who gave over 37 years to the city of Fairfield, which is just really incredible to think about. So her official last day, I believe, is October 20th. So the celebration is, I'm going to check.
That's great. Almost made it. Tom Petty just had his 40th anniversary, so that's a long haul.
Oh, yeah. So our celebration will be Saturday the 21st.
Okay.
And just wanted to honor somebody who had given so much to the community for that long. And now at the end of the meeting, each council member and the mayor got to say some very kind words, because last night was Joy's final council meeting as the clerk. So our new incoming city clerk, Rebecca Loper, has filled in for Joy at different times. So it's not as if we have someone we're completely unfamiliar with, but it's just going to be one of those changes. You know, somebody like Ed and John Rivolinsky who've been there for 20 some years. And, but John Rivolinsky is not running for re-election.
That's right. He decided not to. Yeah.
So yeah, he won't be there much longer, but for many of us, it'll be quite a change.
Well, great service. That is definitely a long haul.
Yeah, but Joy, I'm just going to kind of recap some of the things that people said, is she encouraged several people to actually run for council. So that's, they kind of owe their involvement to her encouragement. And anybody who can make it in the public sector like that, in a public eye for 37 years has got to have a very friendly personality and a kind of upstanding quality. So I commended her on that. And, but yeah, it was we gave her some flowers. It was very, very sweet kind of send off for somebody who's been with the city for so long.
Such a joy.
Such a joy. It's name and form. All right. We had a couple of improvements for hiring. So, the city council personnel committee had interviewed on September 26th, 4 candidates for planning and zoning assistant. So just to back up, so when Joy announced her retirement, we had to hire a new city clerk, and Rebecca Loper was the choice. And she currently, she's kind of wearing 2 hats right now, is also the planning and zoning assistant. So then we need to hire for that position, which we did. And it happened to be someone who works for the water billing department. So now they're hiring for that position. So we're kind of doing this promote from within
musical chairs. Yeah.
Yep. But it's good because the people we had great candidates, some who work for the city, some who don't, but that familiarity with the process really gave them a little bit of that edge. And so it's great that Rebecca will be in City Hall in her new position to help Dawn Travis, who's now going to be the planning and zoning assistant. So there'll be continuity in terms of on-the-job training and helping. And they just have, the employees at City Hall have a very great working relationship, cooperative. The city staff in general have really developed that even more since I got on the council 8 years ago. It's really built to the point where everyone helps each other. And there's more inter-department assistance on projects. So the street department, for example, got I think it's called a scrim. It's the device that allows you to make a nice straight flat road. So they've been doing alleyways, and now they did the entryway to Chautauqua Park. So technically, that's a park. It's not the Public Works Department, but that's just how they work. They help each other out like that. So
Cool.
it's really great.
And also thanks whoever came and got those sticks from the front.
Oh yeah, that's Public Works.
It's like, is it ever going to happen? Then they're gone. It's like, dang it.
Yep.
Just like that. It's
Yep.
magic.
So you're referring to the fall
Pickup.
brush pickup,
Yeah.
which is a great service. And
Amazing.
if anyone who hasn't, anybody who gardens or plants trees and doesn't know about the city's compost pile, but it's out at the intersection of 20th and Jackson, and that's where all the brush that is collected spring and fall is taken. It's turned into mulch. Some of the mulch is mixed with grass clippings and leaves that are also taken out there and turned into a kind of a compost. I say kind of because a really good compost would then have a wet component, but this is kind of more of a carbon drier component, but it still turns into something that it would be beneficial to a garden or a farm. So it's free, and that's the best part. So we're taking materials in town and creating something that can then be used.
That's great.
And keeping that cycle. Doing this for I'm doing a cycle, like a circle with my finger for the listeners. Just wanted them to know what was happening. So not everyone's watching the video. All right. We had one public appearance. It was Chris Kukla from Area 15 Regional Planning. So the Area 15 Regional Planning, I'm going to try to condense what he said into a very brief statement. They're more or less in charge of the funds that come through for road improvements and also things like bike and trail improvements. So they have to do, by law, a public participation plan. So whenever they start to do some of their planning, they need to get public involvement. And so they have a whole plan for how to do that. And anybody who is interested, keep your eyes and ears open for those plans. Then comments will be able to be made on that. But they also listed a bunch of the projects they've done here in Fairfield in the area, and from street paving to trail enhancements. So we work with them extensively on these kind of projects. But the next item was to consider the adopt the public participation plan, which we did.
Okay.
We passed the off-street parking code change. Now, remember, I wanted to make sure that everyone with any sort of multifamily housing knew about this, but the idea is to actually reduce the number of parking spaces per housing unit from what it was to something a little bit more reasonable. So one thing that was added and amended this time was that loading areas will not be affected. So if you have a business and there's a loading, unloading area, that won't be affected by this. But our city engineer, Melanie Carlson, also did contact existing apartment buildings and found that of the 6 she contacted, only one is having any sort of issue with not having enough parking. Well, they have a 0.6 ratio, so they have almost half as many parking spaces as they have tenants. So they will be grandfathered in and not required to have the 1.5, which is going to be the new standard. But the 3 that have very close to 1.5 have no issues. And some of the others that are closer to a 1-to-1 ratio also have no issues. So there is a sweet spot, number of parking units to housing. That's what this ordinance is aiming to find. All right, Mayor's report. He had some board and commission appointments. To the library board, Katie Van Pelt, Nan Cameron, and Joe Stever. To the Fairfield Media Center board, Richard Thompson.
Oh, great.
He's been very involved with Media Center.
Many years.
And to the Beautification Commission, Joel Boatwright.
All right.
Yep. So
are those expanding or replacing?
Replacing.
Okay.
So we're very fortunate here in Fairfield to have so many people who do participate in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these boards and commissions, they might meet monthly, and then they might have some little projects here and there, but still they don't really function without people sitting there. So we're very, very glad to have people continue to step up to the plate.
Yeah, thanks for that good service. I've been on one of those myself in some different form and figure, but you're listening to KRUU here, KRUU-FM.com, 100.1 in your local FM radio dial here. We're talking with Michael Halley, 4th Ward City Council person. giving us an unofficial recap of what goes on at City Hall. And we do it mostly every following day from the following evening, following the City Council meeting. We have a lunchtime recap live at 12:30, and then Thursday, 6:30, dinner time, if you want to catch it, or the following Monday morning, 6:30 a.m. breakfast time, to just keep up to snuff with what's happening. And also FMC joining us as part of this endeavor to keep you informed of what's going down at City Hall. So what else we got?
All right, 3 committee reports. Now, committees are 3 members of the council, and they really delve into issues more specifically. So Personnel Committee, I already told you what happened with the 4 applicants. And I got to say, they were very qualified applicants. All 4 of them would have been great. I actually wish we could have hired all 4 of them, but we chose Don Travis for Planning and Zoning Assistant. We also met briefly before council last night. There was a city employee who was requesting or wanted to talk about being a temporary employee next year, but IPERS, which is the insurance pool the city uses, recommend not discussing it until actually later, until 2018. So we tabled that item. Public Safety and Transportation Committee, they always have some juicy stuff. They had 3 items they were discussing. One was a citizen was requesting a no right turn on red at the intersection of 12th and Burlington. They decided to table that at this point because there is a flow to traffic that needs to be maintained, and there's not any specific safety issues at that intersection. So this is the kind of thing, if you want to discuss it, it usually goes to committee. The next item they had was ATV, allowing ATVs to use the city streets. And the county passed a law that allows it. And with the certain safety requirements, we see it as not really much different than, say, a moped, a scooter, or a motorcycle.
Well, yeah, on the highway yesterday, I think between Des Moines and Iowa City, I saw a 3-wheeler backwards. In other words, 2 front wheels and 1 in the back. I don't know if that's an ATV or what.
I think I've seen something like that,
I've
too.
not seen one of those before. I've seen them the other way with 2 wheels in the back. But I guess, it was a littler license. I don't know what it meant, but it was... Yeah, tooling along.
Yep. Well, we require turn signals, headlights, taillights, all that. So it's road worthy. Now, a lot of people don't have the money to spend to make their ATV match that. So the number that will actually be riding on city streets is probably pretty low. Okay. But there's another type of ATV that's almost like a little Jeep, and those, you may see some of those around. The third and final issue they discussed was the fireworks. So they're proposing to limit the days for fireworks from July 3rd and 4th and December 31st and January 1st. Only those 4 days. So they're hoping to bring that to the full council. We'll amend it.
Well, this is a group kind of that's spearheading this? And it's to the committee? Is that what you're saying?
No, the committee itself, based on the council's feedback. So I spoke about this at council, and so did several others, that week-long firework period was just too much for most people. And so a lot of cities actually doing the same thing. They had it wider, and they're narrowing it down. And the city of Washington has done the same thing. Okay. So keep your eyes and ears open if you want to have any input. Contact your city council members before we start voting. But we will vote over the course of 3 council meetings with the public hearing before each one. Finally, the Environmental Franchise Utility Committee had been discussing with Waste Management about renewing their recycling and trash pickup contract. Waste Management wanted to know if the city customers would want to pay $1.50 extra per month to have this bin that's the same size and shape as the recycling bin for trash. And the survey results showed that 4 times the number of people who said, yes, I'm interested, said, no, thanks, I'm fine the way things are. So it doesn't appear that our citizens are interested. Then there was a discussion about, well, if Waste Management stands to benefit from this, then maybe they pay for the bins instead of...
It makes sense. I mean, if the idea is that they're saving the money and they're going to save it for here on out, it seems like an investment for them. I mean, I was just talking among citizens myself, and it's sort of like it is an investment for them. So it does make sense if it actually does what it says they say it does. Yeah. It may make sense for them to take that because over the course of... But anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it seems like it's a no thank you at that price at least. And so, but But that contract, Waste Management would just like to renew it, but we voted as a council unanimously to open it up to competitive bidding. That's just the best way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the trash recycling pickup, and I used to be the chair of that committee, and we did it intentionally. We had an end date for both contracts so that we could put them together in 2017 and bid it the right way, which is sealed bids. No one knows the other person's bid. And so that'll move forward, and we should get a new contract in November.
Well, that sounds great. Anything else?
That's pretty much it. Just want to say thank you, Joy Messer, for 37 plus years of great work for the city.
Joy Messer, also the new statue of Lee Gobble out there in front of the convention center now. Quite striking. Very, very statuey.
That's right.
And
gesturing towards the steeple of the courthouse.
It's beautiful.
Which is
probably talked about many times. But anyway, Michael, thank you. Michael Halley, and this is James Moore, Jason Strong at KRUU-FM with City Business. And this will keep you up to snuff. And remember, you can be a part of these various ways. If you have ideas, you want to watch it, you want to bring something up, or go through the committees as we've talked about before. But that'll do it for today, and we'll be back again in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for more great programming coming up in just a moment. Thanks, Michael.